Good day to our thesis advisor, Mr. Michael Ray Arce, and to the panelists. Welcome to the defense thesis entitled Bullying Welding Fabrication Workplace, a Phenomenological Study, together with my groupmates, Jason Isel R. Cabrera, Mr. Warren A. Murillo, Miss Marian S. Cruel, and Mr. Nino Boy B. Sonio. For the introduction, background of the study, related literature, related study, I am Jerry Puebla. Our study aims to determine the impact of bullying in workplace. It happens when someone experiencing unpleasant feeling due to a perpetrator used to bully the other by using through nonverbal abuse or verbal abuse. Let's move to the background of the study. The Anti-Office Bullying Act of 2016. This will mandate all offices to adopt a policy on snake bullying in workplace and promote places that are free from any form of discrimination. Impact the morale of employees and the financial performance of an organization. Incidents are prepared to minor and harassment to adult. In the Philippines, use bullying for both minor and adult. Workplace bullying has a huge impact in every victim of bullying that can cause to decrease their ability to perform and it can affect the overall job satisfaction and productivity. Workplace bullying and its effect on job satisfaction and productivity. Harassment or abuse in the workplace may negative impact to the mental and physical health of an employee. Let's move to review of literature and study. According to Victoria Ross, Australian young construction male workers that experience workplace bullying are more exposed to suicide behavior that result to personal suicide ideation and commit suicide, rather than Australian young male that has poor mental health and take drugs. In 2022, in the construction industry, the suicide rate is high. There's a lot of evidence that young apprentice workers that working on construction industry are vulnerable and prone both to bullying. It's been reported that appreciate one-third of new construction worker thoughts a suicide idea, two-thirds of them that attempt and died because of suffering in a higher psychological stress. Even other country, their workers also came up to that idea.
For the related study, according to Manalo et al. 2021, workplace bullying is the most predominant form of organization violence that exposes the overall health of individual. It refers to the persistence of exposure to interpersonal aggression and abuses from the higher position such as manager, supervisor, and co-workers of other individual.
Thank you, Jere Puebla. I'm Jason Isa Cabrera, and I'm presenting to you statement of the problem, significance of the study, scope of the limitation, conceptual model, and assumptions. Statement of the problem. Major objective. We conducted this research to determine the life experience of welding fabrication workers living in bullying in their workplace. Some studies say this merit further studies. Specific objective. Number 1. What forms of bullying experienced by welding and fabrication workers? Number 2. What are the consequences faced by WAF workers after they work bullied? Number 3. What are the reinforcement method of bullying experienced by WAF workers? Our study will have a great contribution and be beneficial to professional welders and fabricator, employer, policymaker, and to the future researcher. The result of our study is to know the effect of bullying welder and fabricator about a culture exists to the workplace before they get in so. Also, To employer, they can easily analyze what is the best solution to act to solve a conflict in the workplace. And also to the policymaker to understand the conflict between boss and their subordinates and between two groups. This study will be beneficial as a reference and a guide to a future researcher whose studies are related to this topic. Scope and delimitation. This study have a limit of 10 professional participants who are currently unactive welders on their workplace in Marikina and Cainta. We select a respondent who are qualified on our research who can give their own opinion and experience about bullying. This study will focus on bullying, welding, and fabrication workplace, a phenomenological study on their experience, the cause and effect of bullying on professional welders. Conceptual model. Figure shows about bullying, welding, and fabrication workplace, a phenomenological study. The input of the study is about interview respondent of adult welding workers being bullied at workplace. The process of the study is to interview 10 professional welder workers in Marikina and Cainta. Analyze and interpretation of data collected. The output of the study is to get some assumption from the collected information that the respondent have given to further improve the policy about workplace bullying. Assumptions. In this research, it will show the different kind of outcome when someone bullied in the workplace. As a result, it will harm the person's health including physical health, psychological, and emotional health. In this study, aim to impart how the effect of bullying ruined person life from its everyday routine. Also, our study gives them idea on what the possible outcome.
Thank you, Jason Cabrera. By the way, I am Mary Ann Proel. Research methodology. This study used interview method of research, a form of a purposive sampling that we researchers rely on our own judgment for choosing a respondent to participate our research to determine the cause and effect of the study on bullying, welding, and fabrication workplace, a phenomenological study. Source of data. The purpose of this qualitative research is to interview and collect information from the participants about bullying in their workplace. This strategy, purposive sampling, also known as a judgmental selective or subjective sampling, in which the researcher relies on their own judgment when choosing a participants. We select participants based on their expertise and experience on welding industry, and we will use this as a sampling procedure. Data gathering instrument. The process involved data gathering to interview 10 participants that use a purposive sampling. We searched 5 English major teachers to revise and take their suggestion for a better improvement of our questionnaire. Data gathering procedure. To gather information for this research, we researchers use an interview method to determine and provide information about bullied welding workers. Our researcher will ask our target participant and inquire if they are willing to participate in our research. We researcher handed a copy of the consent letter and request them to read and sign. We researcher ask for their permission to take picture as proof. The assigned researcher will begin by asking one-on-one interview by provided questionnaire. After the interview, the researcher thanked the participant to participating and for accepting to be part of our research. The participants' responses to the questionnaires were also collect data, and the result of the collected data will help the research them interpret their study. The data analysis purposive sampling, also known as a judgmental selective or subjective sampling, a form of non-probability sampling in which we researchers rely on our own judgment when choosing a participant to participate on the interview about bullying, welding, and fabrication workplace, a phenomenological study.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Warren M. Murillo, and the topic that was given to me is about conclusion. In the situation of experience bullying in workplace. This phenomenon is unavoidable due to differences of worker, but if the management takes action immediately, it could utilize conflict among employees who involved in incident with a proper treatment. There are two kinds of bullying. One is verbal abuse. It is mostly like to happen in a day-to-day work like shouting, using improper words. 2. Non-verbal abuse. It can be physical or sabotaging the work of others. Impact of bullying involves are living fear, low esteem in a victim, changing their behavior, and many more. Findings. This study aims to determine the bullying, welding, and fabrication in workplace, a phenomenological study. The silent findings of the study are as follows. The situation of phases of welding and fabrication, bullying, and workplace are in the following. First, verbal abuse. Second, non-verbal abuse. Within the organization, several employees experience bullying in their workplace. Some of them accept the fact that bullying are unavoidable. Therefore, they need to adjust in the situation that they can control. Management takes action when noticeable bullying occurs their company to avoid worst.
I am the next presenter and I am Nino Boy B. Sonyo. On the basis of the findings, the conclusion of the study, the following measures are highly recommended. First, the company must do toolbox before the starting of work. On that time, the speaker should remind every worker their designated task to avoid confusion of workers, and they should report if there are conflicts among the employees. Second, the safety officer, supervisor should always be visible in the eyes of the worker. Third, the company must do perform a proper training with the new employees.